Your Town Matters is funded by the Government of Canada through the Local Journalism Initiative and supported by Cactus Media, Canada's independent community television association.
Welcome to another episode of Your Town Matters. I'm Andrew Sutton, and joining me today is the Mayor of the Village of Blacks Harbour, John Craig. Welcome, John.
Thank you for having me here today, Andrew.
Thanks for coming in again.
Thank you.
Now, it has been 7 months, 8 months, right, since you've been mayor.
Yes, that's correct. Last.
We're into 2022, so it's probably not a great idea to do a year in review, but you know, we can still do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think were your biggest challenges last year?
I think our biggest challenge is I had a brand new council, and they're all fairly new, and just learning the process, learning how things work. And I've been very fortunate. The council that I did get was a very good council, they're a young group, except for one, but they're all very good, and they want to get things done, and they work together very well. So I think that was just the big thing, just learning how local government works. When you work for, say, one gentleman works for Irving, and I told him right from the beginning, sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating because government works different than when you work for a company. It takes a while to get things done, and there's a process to it. So I think that was probably the biggest thing, and we went through some changes in the office, and this past year or so, we had our CEO retired, and we just recently hired Stacy Frost as our CEO, so as our manager, and Kara Hatt works in the office. She's taken on more duties, and she's got moved up, and she's going to be working closely with Stacy. So we got a good group in the office and with council. So no, everything's working good.
Now, Stacy was the clerk before, if I'm not mistaken.
Clerk treasurer, yes, yeah.
So she's moved up to the CAO position.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and she's sort of the treasurer CEO at the moment, but she's taken on that role. Stacy put in for the job, and we've only got about 10, 11 months left because of the amalgamation. So it would be hard to find somebody to go into that role right away, where Stacy has the background, has the knowledge, and knows how council works, and knows the council members, and knows everybody that works for the village, and knows the people of the village too. So it was a good fit, and we were able to keep Stacy working for us, and she did have a job opportunity somewhere else, but we were able to keep her on. So for the next 10, 11 months, between Kara and Stacy, we may hire somebody else for the office just to help out a little bit more, but going in the summer, sometimes you get summer vacations and time off, so we have to be careful of that. So we want to make sure that they have don't have too much workload going into this next year.
Now, I asked you about challenges, and you really gave me successes.
Well, housing has been our biggest challenge. Well, I should say it's a challenge. Actually, it's quite exciting. We're getting Eastern Charlotte Waterways this year. It's going to break ground this year on 2 brand new apartment buildings this year. Greg Hooper just worked out a deal with Connors Brothers and bought a large building in Blacks Harbour right behind the Stella Maris Hall. We call it the 260 building. If you're from Blacks, you'll know exactly which building it is. He's going to put at least 10 to 12 apartments in that building, and he's looking at building another one. And there's some other opportunities coming up too. The Eastern Charlotte Waterways owns a lot more land beyond where the 2 apartment buildings are going to go.
Yes, they do.
So they're looking at or entertaining having other developers come in to build some other types of housing along there also. So there's a lot happening over the next year, which is quite exciting. We do need more housing in not just Charlotte County, but all New Brunswick. And so it just seems to be a good time. Everything seems to be falling into place for this next year or so for a lot more housing.
What do you think? What do you think is driving the housing demand in Blacks Harbour specifically?
Well, it's the same. It's the same issue everywhere right now. It's you have people coming in from Western Canada, Ontario, and further beyond, buying up properties. It's a good thing. Is that people are coming in and buying everything up. People are wanting to get away from Ontario, Toronto, just to get away from the cities because of COVID and all that sort of thing. And they're selling out in their province and coming this way, and that seems to be, everything seems to be getting snatched up for a lot higher prices too. So it's created some problems, but some good problems. We just have to get more housing put in to help out with the people, the companies that need workers, and that's why the Connors Brothers cooks, they need workers. So it's hard for people to have a place to live and work in these factories.
Yes. Yeah. Now, it seems like we see every couple of days a story about rising rental prices and so on. Now, there's not a whole lot that municipalities can do to address that. That seems to be more of a provincial issue.
Yes, and I hope the province does step up and do something in that regard, because it's taking a person that's in that apartment building who's lived there for 10, 12 years on a fixed income, and all of a sudden their rent's going up $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 a month, and which they can't afford. So it's making it tough for people. That's why we're having some issues. That's why these new buildings, all these new apartment buildings going in, will help stabilize that a little bit, because the more you have, the more competition there will be in the pricing of these apartment buildings.
Yeah, increased demand. Like there are these sort of outlier fringe cases. Maybe there are more of them than we're comfortable with, but overall, it's probably a good thing that people want to buy houses here.
Absolutely, it's a great thing. It's great if you're selling right now too.
Yeah.
Because if you're selling right now and you have a piece of property, you can command a little bit higher price, because the ones coming from Ontario don't think twice about what's the value of the properties here.
Well, it seems like a great deal to them.
It's a good deal for them. Exactly.
Yeah. Now, this year is the 50th anniversary.
Yes, of our incorporation in Blacks Harbour. Yeah, 50 years ago, it was November 1972. Richard Hatfield declared Blacks Harbour to be an official village of the province of New Brunswick. So that marks 50 years this year that we are incorporated as a village. So we are having different things going on during the year to celebrate that. Before I came here, I had a meeting in the office, and I was speaking to Kara. Kara's working on bringing some seniors in to tell stories of back in '72 when they first made Blacks Harbour an official village, and maybe they could tell some stories, record them in one way, either by video or just have them written down, different stories of some of the seniors that are still living in Blacks Harbour. They have some memories of what happened back 50 years ago, and tell some stories of Blacks Harbour too. So, plus we're having some contests. We have a contest on now that people can go on Facebook, and we're going to get them $50 for a meal at our local restaurant called The Kitchen, and they can win a $50 gift certificate for that, and some free skating at the arena. So we've got some different things happening all year long. But every time there's a celebrate, or a month comes up, and say, for example, Valentine's Day, we'll have a contest and something going on to celebrate our 50th year.
Okay. Now, speaking of the history of Blacks Harbour, the community recently lost somebody.
Absolutely, yeah. Greg Hooper's father is Kenny Hooper. Ken is, most people would know in Charlotte County, because Ken was the mayor of Blacks Harbour for 18 years in Blacks Harbour.
Wow.
And he also did, people don't really realize this, he also did 6 years on council over there. So if you add up the times, about 24 years he served on council in Blacks Harbour, either as mayor or as a councillor. That's humongous in today's world, to work to spend that amount of time in local government. And anyway, he passed away this past month, and it's been hard for Blacks Harbour. We did lower our flags in the harbour to half mast to honor Ken. Ken was a great community man who lived and breathed Blacks Harbour. You can't say Blacks Harbour and not think of Ken Hooper. Ken Hooper was definitely a figurehead of the area. That would be Greg's father, and Carolyn would be Kenny's wife. Too. So we have to thank Kenny and Greg because, as you know, when you're involved in politics, it's not just the person who's doing all the work; it's the family. Family takes a hit too because you're away a lot. You're going to meetings. You're representing the village. So you have to thank Carolyn and Greg too because during those times, their father and husband wasn't around. So you have to thank them too.
Okay. Well, condolences to the family.
The whole family, exactly.
And to the community itself, really.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah.
Now, the 50th anniversary will also be the last anniversary of the Village of Blacks Harbour.
Yeah, it's sad to say. It's our 50th and last.
Yeah.
Because of the putting all the communities together. It's going to be bittersweet, I guess, this year. And it's the same with St. George. We're all being amalgamated into one area. Not just St. George and Blacks Harbour, but all the surrounding areas. Like I brought a map today, and I think they'll bring the map up here on the thing on the screen here. But it takes in a fairly big area. I mean, we're talking Bonnie River up to Digdigwash Lake. We have Bethel. We have all the Lake Utopia area. All Penfield. Penfield. People don't realize how big the Penfield LSD area is. They're probably one of the largest as far as a tax base is concerned. It's probably one of the largest in the whole area. And then you have Beaver Harbor, and then you have the Fundy Bay area outside St. George, going down towards Letite and the whole area down in there. It's a huge area, and it's going to be a different next year. It'll be next January when the new council will take over. November the 28th of this year is when the new election will be, and there'll be one mayor. And they're discussing right now. They're discussing how it's going to be represented as far as it could be a ward system or at-large system as far as the council. So they're working all that out right at the moment.
Now, when you say they, who do you mean?
They is the well, right now the province of New Brunswick have what they call facilitators that are working with the local area. So right now they're asking the mayors to be involved, the heads of the LSDs, and they want to get our input on how we'd like to see how it's all divided up, who's going to be setting up the new table. So we are in meetings about that. They are getting our input into it. At the end of the day, it would be the provinces will have the final say, and that will be.
So what's your opinion?
My opinion would be that every area would get a representative. I think we have to make it fair, that be a ward system. So, for example, Blacks Harbour would get a person or two at the table. Same with St. George, same with Penfield, Beaver Harbor.
So based on population
or tax base also,
right.
too. Then you got all the surrounding areas. Everybody, like Bonnie River should have somebody on there. The Fundy Bay area, everybody should be represented at that table because it's a huge area, and everybody should have a voice on how things are run and where the money is going to be spent in those areas. And too, we'll all be working together, which is great. We're going to be a lot bigger. We're going to be a lot bigger area, a lot more money to work with, and it's good that we work together because we all have, like for example, St. George, and I'll use this as a good example, St. George and Blacks Harbour, we each have our own public works departments. But say we need a piece of material, a backhaul or something breaks down in St. George, well, we could send something over to St. George to help them. But we can work together a lot closer on equipment and that sort of thing too. So that's just one example of where we can be working together.
And now it's the largest rural restructuring. I don't know about New Brunswick's history, but certainly in recent times, in my history.
Exactly. No, it's been talked about for decades.
Yeah.
About these changes, and it's finally the government today, including, and it's not just the government, but also the opposition and stuff too. They all voted for this to happen. So it's moving ahead. It's going to happen regardless of what anybody says. It's a done deal, and. It is a huge area, and it's going to take a while for people to get adjusted to it. But no, I'm looking forward to it, and I plan on running for the new mayorship of the area because I believe we need somebody at the helm that wants the people to work together, and that's one thing I I've been able to do as mayor is to get groups and councils to work together and let councilors do their work and do their jobs, but make sure that everybody has a say at the table. And that's one thing we have to make sure of today. It's not the mayor that runs things, it's the councilors and the mayors. It's up to the mayor to make sure that everybody has a voice at that table. Everybody has a chance to give their opinion at the table. And that's and be and the job of the mayor is to go out to the areas and represent the area too at the same time. So it's going to be a big job for a mayor, but I'm looking forward. I think I'm at the point in my life now where I have more time to be able to do that.
Okay. Now it's probably a little bit bittersweet, I think, for a lot of the mayors and councils in the area. You know, having just taken office really for the majority of them, and you know, just starting to learn to work together. And now they're going to have to relearn a lot. Really, it'll be for the new councils. It'll be a much bigger job.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be tough for a while. I'm not going to say it's all going to be roses at the beginning, because everybody wants to take care of their own area, which is great. I mean, everybody has to have a voice at this table. So it's going to take a while to get adjusted. And like you said, it's tough for the councils that we do have now, because they've only been in it for 7 or 8 months, and we know that by the end of this year we're all done. We don't get to finish our full term, which was supposed to be 4 years. So we're probably going to be short over 2.5 years of our time, and we've been doing good work. I'm speaking for Blacks Harbour. Our council's been doing great work. They've been working together good, getting things done, making sure the arena stays open, looking at housing, looking at other projects. I can't say too much about it at this moment until it becomes official. But this council is doing great work, so it's going to be tough to let go of it and hand it over to a new council. Absolutely.
I think you're right in that whatever form the new councils take, that having equal representation from different areas is important. I've been to a lot of council meetings over the years,
yes.
And in my experience, the best councils are always the ones that know their area well and know what they want for it.
Absolutely, exactly. That's why it's going to be tough for Blacks Harbour to only have one voice at that table. Yeah. But the same thing for St. George, the same thing for the Fundy Bay area, the same thing for Penfield, Beaver Harbour, Bonnie River. Yeah, the names go on, but like I say, everybody's got to have a say at this, because we're all one now. So we all have to work together. But I think when we're working together, we're going to be able to be stronger and be able to work closer together.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it anyway. So I think it's a good day. Right now, I can say right now we have the manager from St. George, their CEO, working closely with our girls in our office with our changeover. He's helping out. He knows that the change is coming within 10 to 12 months, so he's offered his help in any way he can help, and this way we can, if somebody needs something, we can work together to make sure it gets done. We might as well start that process now. So
I think that change, especially in more rural areas, is always a little bit uncomfortable, but it's often necessary.
Absolutely, exactly.
I think a lot of people would agree that local governance reform is a bit of a necessary thing in New Brunswick.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. It took a long time. It took a lot of political price to do it, and like I say, I've been involved in municipal government for quite a few years, and it's been talked about long before I came onto the map, and finally it's come around.
So the history of Blacks Harbour as a village is about 50 years long. Now the history of Blacks Harbour itself, as a company town, and
exactly.
is quite a bit longer than that, and quite interesting, really. But since the Village of Blacks Harbour has existed for 50 years, what do you see for the next 50 years for Blacks Harbour?
Well, I see Blacks Harbour growing. I think we're part of the industrial area with Connors Brothers and Clerks, and I'm hoping as a village too, we are able to get a little more control of our water system. That's one thing we are working on at the moment. I might as well be honest about it. For years, Connors Brothers has controlled the water because they own the water source, and we are looking at trying to bring our own water to the harbor, so that if other industries want to come to the area, then we'll have a water source to be able to get them water. So we're working on that, and we also want to make sure the arena keeps up and running, and we want to make sure we put more money into the arena and keep it's not the Blacks Harbour Arena. I always call it the Fundy Arena because it belongs to everybody in the whole area. So we got to make sure that that arena keeps going and is successful and everything that we need. Right now, there's money coming to put ladies changing rooms in there, which is something we're going to be working on the next year or so. So we're going to build on with the arena and do some extra things there.
Now this water thing is quite interesting. So
I kind of touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get more into it the next month or two because there is a provincial announcement coming out on it, and I don't want to. That's why I kind of just
you don't want to jump the shark.
I don't want to jump it yet until our MLA is able to speak more on it. So I'll leave it at that at the moment. But we are looking at trying to source our own water for the village. And
now, where does the water come from now?
Right now, it comes from outside the harbor up towards Penfield, and there's wells up that way.
Okay.
So, but like I say, right now, for years and years, for the history of Blacks Harbour has always been owned by the company, and we'd like to get some control of it. And not saying anything bad about Connors Brothers, because Connors Brothers, there's only so much water there. They have to make sure they take care of their factory and make the workers there. So I'm not taking anything away from Connors Brothers because they've been a good partner for us.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
In order for us to grow, we have to have control, or get another water source so we can have more water. We have to be what Connors Brothers has for water, it does a good job now. But in order for us to grow, we're going to have another water source.
Now, when you say grow, looking ahead 50 years into the future, remember?
Yeah. More housing opportunities is what we have to have for Blacks Harbour, because in order to grow, you got to have more housing, and it grows your tax base, of course, and the more people live there, the more kids go to schools and use the grocery store. Right now, we have one restaurant down there, and a beautiful restaurant down there called The Kitchen. So we want to be able to make sure their businesses stay open and keep growing.
Okay, excellent. Now, I've got a final question. It's a pretty quick one. In the new council for Area 53, we'll call it.
Yes.
For now.
That's exactly what it is right now.
Yeah. Is it set how many councillors you'll have?
Nothing yet. No, nothing yet. And that's the discussion. I think they have to have that ready by February. Which we're in now. Sometime in February. There is a cutoff time there. They want that set in stone. So the first discussions is tomorrow night. The mayors are supposed to be getting together, and the LSD leaders are all getting together via Zoom meetings, and with the province on board there too, and for those discussions to happen. So we have to find some kind of agreement. We all agree how it's going to come down. So how big that council is. It going to be 10, 12 people at that council table? I don't know. But you can be rest assured, be at least 10 to 12. Anyway, I'm guessing, because
it's a large council.
It's going to be a large council, because it's. I say everybody has to have a voice, and if you just give everybody one, you're talking at least 10 people there anyway, for sure.
Now that's another, because it does lead into one more question.
Sure.
The various public works departments. Is the plan to? It's certainly not set in stone, but is the plan to sort of push them all together?
Well, that we're not too sure of. But the one thing I want to make sure of is making sure that our guys all have work after when all this is said and done. That's one thing I'll be keeping an eye on. And the province keeps saying, yes, everybody will have jobs. And I got two girls in the office, Stacy and Kara. I will fight to the death making sure that everybody has a job when November rolls around. As far as amalgamating and putting, we're not sure how that's going to work. It will give the public works guys more opportunity. Say another job comes up over in St. George, and they like to try another
lateral moves.
Yeah. I think it'd be great for them to have an opportunity to try different things, have more different types of equipment that they haven't tried before, that we're able to buy and that sort of thing too. So it'd be good for them, but I want to make sure at the very beginning, everybody that's working for me now, working for our village, will have a job in November. So I'll be keeping a very close eye on that, because that's near and dear to my heart, because I have 6 guys now work for Public Works, and they do an awesome job, and they do a really good job, and the two girls, Kara and Stacy, in the office. I'm very lucky to have such a great group of people. I'm gonna do my job to make sure that they're all taken care of in November.
Okay.
My job, I don't care, but these guys, this is their bread and butter.
Yeah.
These people have children. They have people in the school systems. They have a life, and I want to make sure that they continue to live in our area. And this is something that I've been very fortunate to come on as mayor and have a great group of people, and I'm going to take care of them.
Okay. Well, I think we'll leave it there.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thanks for coming.
No problem.
And best of luck to you.
Thank you.
We'll be following closely.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. My guest today has been John Craig, the mayor of the Village of Blacks Harbour. Thank you for watching.